Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
You can't see us. Let's.
I'll keep talking. That way I know that you can hear me.
We can see you too.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see you. I just see gray screen. It and it doesn't look like the usual video is off button in Zoom. The computer that you're on, I wonder if it has a little switch on the top that shows like it's
Yeah, I looked for that, but I
okay.
think the computer doesn't have that little. You see it?
Yeah. That means no.
Well, it's just
Oh, let there be light. Let there
there
be
we go.
light. Hello.
Hello.
We figured it out. There's always got to be a technical glitch. That's the world
There
of,
has to be.
virtual meetings and whatnot. Well, nice to see you both. I'm Veronica.
Nice to meet you, Veronica. I'm Tara.
And I'm Larry.
Nice to meet both of you. Thanks for
Yes.
joining me. We've got 90 minutes for today to talk
Mhm.
about how things are going with Sir Loki and all of the things that you have going on. First of all, thank you for filling out that long history form that we asked for. You put some great detail in it. I was reading through it. I'm like, man, this is a lot of good information.
Oh,
So that's
good.
going to help us in our conversation for today. Are there any immediate questions or updates that you folks want to share before we dive into things?
I think the we can just quickly talk about the update with his medicine because
Yeah.
when I was writing that, he just had the episode where he got he was acting very strange and crying and found out that he was on too high of a dose, or so they cut the dosage in half. And he's much more like himself at the moment instead of kind of wandering around in a stupor. So that's positive. He is a smart little guy, so he is figuring out that I know he knows he's drugged, and he's figuring out how to find his pills and spit them out. So we're being challenged in that respect. But overall, he's doing way better than he was with the new half dosage.
Okay. That was one of my questions, one of the things that I wanted to ask about. And I'm taking notes, by the way, as we're going along,
Sure.
typing, handwritten. I've got like all sorts of stuff going on. So if I'm looking at another screen, I promise I'm still here with you. I've just got notes all over the place. So Loki, first of all, is a about 18-pound dog. So he's about a 20-pound dog-ish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
18. Yep.
Okay. And the dose that he was on Reconcile, that was the name of the medication he was on, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And the dose that he was on was too high, so we've cut it in half. So at this point, he is taking 8 milligrams. Is that what that boils down to?
Um,
She's gonna go get the pill box.
Excellent, excellent. I like math, so I like knowing. I thought that he was on a 16 milligram, the one pill dose. So if he's on half, then that would be 8.
Yep, correct. He was on
Okay.
16, and I've cut them in half to the best of my ability. I went and got it's not a
Pill
thing,
cutter.
a pill cutter.
Good.
But some of them are bigger than others. With the like, it's not. They didn't have a little line on them or anything, so it was kind of hard to do. But I'm when he has good days, he gets a smaller one, and if he has a bad day, then I try to give him a bigger one.
That seems fair. That seems
Okay.
fair. I do the same thing with my dogs. I have one pill that I need to cut into quarters. It's
Oh,
just never perfect. So I kind of be like, okay, you got a slightly bigger one in the morning and the lesser one at night. That because at night he's less stressed, he's asleep. So
sure.
yeah, I dig that. I end up doing the same thing with my dogs. Okay, I'm glad that Loki's doing much better with that lower dose, that he's not in how you describe the stupor. That's certainly
Yeah.
not the point of the medication. Did your vet give you any indication of what's next with the medication or what we're doing now?
Well, the original instructions were that it was a 6 month commitment. They're like, we go for 2 months, kind of ramping them up, 2 months to play with the dosage if we need to, and then if it's bad, 2 months to get them off of it. But I can't, honestly, I don't understand how we're ramping them up when we just started giving them the pill and we're giving them the same pill every day. It's not like, like every 10 days his dosage changes or something.
Mhm.
So I don't understand that part, but I haven't been back to the doctor to be able to ask yet
Okay.
what that means and how it might have changed with the change in his dosage. So the information I was given was either he's doing well, you kind of like the way he is on it, and then he stays on it forever. And then, or you don't, and you wean him off, and that's that. So I also kind of want clarification if that it's just like 6 months or forever. Those are the only options. That's the only place we stand with it.
Sure.
But I mean, if it's forever, it's forever. Like, we rather have a dog that we can keep and love and is more normal and not biting people than
Agreed.
than just take them off the medicine.
Agreed. Agreed. So you do notice the difference even on this half dose compared to when he wasn't on it at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Good. Because it sounds like Loki's got some issues. He's got
I
some.
think he does, and we need help trying to figure out what they really are instead of just guessing. Oh, well, this is an issue, so let's try this other thing. But I think we've done so much of that, like, oh, band-aid this issue with this other activity, and I think I feel like we've confused them. We
And
aren't
he,
on the same
and he
page
hasn't
ourselves.
always had it. It's really something that started last year.
Yeah, yeah.
The first 2 years, he was a normal puppy.
Yeah.
I
And it's
think we loaded a whole bunch of trust issues on him between the groomer situation and then his housing changing and the environment changing, and it piled up.
sure, sure.
Yeah,
That's our theory.
that's our theory.
And it certainly could be any number of things. That's the tough part about it. I think it's complicated. I wish I could say behavior is only caused by one or two things. There's actually lots of different reasons why our dogs are behaving the way they do. And it could be, one of the things could be just his age. And when you
Mhm.
first got him, like Larry, you described, he was fine as a puppy, like for the first 1 to 2 years. Around that age, when he starts to get into like 2, 3 years old, that's basically teenagerhood, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So just like with humans and how things were fine and all of a sudden we are not the same person anymore, it happens with our dogs too. So regardless of what maybe did or didn't happen before then, we still might have ended up with some of these issues coming out at the time. It's also a big part of like what his environment was like before he was born has stuff to do with it too, right? And you don't know what his environment was like necessarily. Um, but if mom was under any type of stress when he was born, that would certainly carry on to him. The first like 8 weeks of his life, if he was stressed, that could be leading to issues down the road. So there's lots of different factors in addition to physical stuff, like just how he's feeling in his body.
Mhm.
As I'm gracefully aging, am realizing that if my knee is hurting, I'm a little bit more irritable, right? And it's the
Sure.
same with our dogs, or if they have upset stomach issues or whatever other physical ailment tends to also exacerbate behavior issues that are underlying as well. And I know the incident with the groomer, which I am so sorry because it sounded so stressful. And I'm sure you've reflected back on it so many times. And it was just such a bummer to read about, especially that things just kind of fell apart after that. Whether that was an inciting factor or not, who knows? Did it help? Maybe not. But as you've mentioned, there might have been lots of different things at that time. But it's not always about a traumatic thing that happened. Sometimes it's what skills did we not maybe get onboarded earlier that are having us have a hard time with coping with our reality now? Like, are we just not as resilient to stressors? Because life isn't perfect, right? We know that as humans, but the more that we can be prepared for setbacks, the easier time we have with it. It's not an easy thing necessarily to teach dogs if you've never done it before. It's not like I would expect just anyone to know these things. So it's absolutely reasonable that things have devolved a little bit and things stacking on top of each other with other environmental things. And here we are today. But regardless of what's happened back then, or in spite of anyway, you two are here today. You've landed here today, and that's super exciting because that means, yes, you've had some hard times that have caused you to be like, help, I really need some assistance here. But
Mhm.
that also gives us an opportunity to start a little bit more fresh. And it's also a testament to your dedication to Loki, frankly, because with the history that you've provided me thus far, that's a lot, like I said, and I don't mean that lightly, and not everyone sticks it out for as long as you have. And it's just commendable. Like, I can see how much you want to try to make it work. You're doing the best you can with what you've got, the information that you've either been provided or have found. And I just love that. So that just means to me that you guys are willing to go the distance for Loki, but also being realistic, it sounds like, about what you're able to accept as far as his behavior should things not change. So congratulations on getting here, because that's the hard part, is at least getting to
It
this point.
wasn't easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally understand. Okay, well, like I said, I have lots of questions, even based off the history form that you folks have completed. But and aside from the update with the medication, is there anything that you folks are feeling right now like we really need to talk about this because I just can't anymore with this one aspect? I know the biting is a big problem, obviously, but is there anything in particular that you want to kick us off on, or should we just kind of dive in wherever and see where this conversation goes?
I think the only other thing that I'd add is he Loki in the last say 4 days or so has started to be more friendly, do some of the things he was doing, which warms my heart tremendously. However, I'm still very scared of him. So, especially since the some of the last episodes were around when he was snuggly and then just flipped a switch. So, I'd like to know how we or work on or talk about how best to like handle him when he wants to, jump up and snuggle and like be able to understand if we're in trouble
Sure.
with that.
Sure.
Because he gets him,
He
he's
can,
he's
he
always
can
been,
feel it too.
yeah, he can feel our nervousness, and he's always been a very bendy dog. So he can get into some very strange nooks and crannies and bend. And I'm like, I don't know if I shove his rear end so he's in a better spot, if he's gonna take that wrong, and then we hope we've tried to not let him up on us unless the other one's around.
Good.
So we have to call out and say help. Then the other one comes with treats and toys and
I love
try,
that. Okay.
yeah,
Is it
try.
working?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's working, but
Okay.
it doesn't stop that
the nervous.
palpitation or like how where do we really stand with him?
Sure.
It's a good point because,
Last
last
night,
night I sat down in a chair and he climbed up in my lap and I'm like, okay, that's probably the first time he's done that in about 5 months. And I,
Okay.
kind of, we were together, so we kind of had his attention there. But, to her point, I was kind of at the edge. It's like, what is he going to be okay?
Right.
And he actually like laid down and like almost fell asleep in the lap, which to her point, that's what he, in the past, he would do that. He would just climb up and I'd reading the paper, a book or doing something, and he'd just climb up on your lap and fall asleep. And he hasn't done that in a while. And
No, but I had to call you
yes,
yesterday too
yep,
because he got into the nook of the chair with me and then flipped over on his belly.
which
And I'm
he
like,
do
this
in the
is
past, yep,
the position he was in when he attacked me last. And I'm like, I'm just not, I'm freaking out more than he is, I think. I don't
yep.
know. So then Larry came with treats and we just
Got him out. And,
did
yep.
something else with him.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Those are
so,
scary situations given your history with him in those
right.
exact scenarios. And given the, like you said, the switch that's just kind of been flipped. Like we thought you were fine, now you're not fine. So let's
Right.
break this up into a few different components that can help us reflect on what's going on and what we can do in these situations, and we'll brainstorm together on something that's feasible for you. And again, we have 90 minutes here for today. A lot of this is going to be some back and forth discussion on what's going on and strategies that we can take. And at the very end, we'll kind of finalize, okay, these are the things that we'll focus on between now and next session and move us along from there. This session is 90 minutes compared to the 60 minutes every other session from here on out will be,
Mhm.
just because there's a lot of like new stuff we'll be getting to know about each other, right? So I promise the next time, usually after today's session, it feels like a lot because this is a long time and a lot of discussion about lots of heavy things that have been happening. So future sessions hopefully will not feel as big. And if you need to get up throughout this conversation, go grab some water or attend to Loki, feel free to do that. I have my water here too. Okay, so one of the things that is worthwhile to consider before we even talk about Loki's body language, because that's going to be one of the fundamental things that will help us understand what he might be feeling in a given scenario and what we should or shouldn't be doing given what we're seeing. So we'll talk about that in a moment, but the other part of it is just understanding the concept of trigger stacking. Is that something that you folks have heard of before in your research about anything?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Basically, it's saying that the number of stressors in a dog's day keep piling up and piling up. So imagine they have a bucket, and every morning they start off their day with the bucket, and then the UPS guy drives by, and Loki barks at him. We just put drop in the bucket. And then the mailman came, drop in the bucket. Now I heard a neighbor dog drop in the bucket. And there's like all these little things. Maybe we turn on the blender and he doesn't like that. And then maybe we do something else that he doesn't like. So all of these little triggers is what I call them, little things that he reacts to, eventually start filling up this bucket. And eventually the bucket is overflowing. There's like way too many things that have happened and the bucket is overflowing. And that means that he can't really think about what to do. He can only do one of two things, fight or flight. That those are his
Mhm.
only options. So we want to try not to have the bucket overflowing. We want
Mhm.
to try to minimize the things in the bucket. Here's the kicker, is that with dogs' stress hormones, they can keep things in their bucket. The same thing can live in the bucket for like 3 days. That's just how hormones work. So even if we think today has been totally chill, nothing really happened, maybe there's stuff in the bucket from yesterday that's still in there. So we
Mhm.
need to be cognizant about minimizing, if we know that there's something that stresses him out, let's avoid that thing because we
Is there
want to.
something that gets it out of the bucket, or is it just time?
Yes, good question. There are ways to decrease things in the bucket. It kind of depends on what the trigger was in the first place. The very first strategy is using avoidance. So if he barks at other dogs passing by the house, then I'd be like, okay, let's try to minimize his exposure to other dogs passing by the house. Or if he's probably not tall enough, but if he was a counter surfer, I'd say, okay, let's take off all the things on the counters that he could get access to prevent him from wanting to get up there in the first place. Right. So we're minimizing those opportunities. I mention that because while his behavior seems so like erratic, like he's jumping on you, I don't know what you want. So is it trigger stacking having something to do with it? Are you holding on to some stress hormones from yesterday and that's why you reacted out of nowhere the way that you have? And one of the ways that we can tell how full the bucket is by their body language. So in terms of knowing he jumped up on me, should I be petting him? Right? Because it sounds like it's a thing
Mhm.
that happens often that'll,
Mhm.
at least recently, that he'll come and get in your lap or sit right next to you. And I want you folks to have the confidence to either know what to do or not allow him on the couch or your lap.
Right.
I think those are the options. Just having said that, do you have strong feelings one way or another? Like, would you want to be like, Loki, you're not allowed on my lap anymore. Loki, you're not allowed on the couch anymore. Because that's certainly one way of avoidance that we can
Mhm.
go about it. That keeps everybody safe. Um, the other thing that we can do, and we're going to talk about body language anyway, is understanding when dogs want to be pet based on their body language. Any thoughts
Mhm.
about that right off the bat?
Well, I think avoidance is maybe our key, and we're just to add, we're doing a lot of avoidance right at the moment. Like we're doing, I think, lots and lots
Mhm.
of accommodating, doing a lot of nothing to try to,
Yeah.
we didn't have the bucket analogy, but
We've
I,
learned some of his triggers.
Yeah,
And to your point, I think we didn't use the word avoidance, but we were like, we need to stay away from those. And but I would like to get him back to where he is, cuddling.
yeah,
It's because it's a part of him that was really fun at one time.
yeah,
I think to start with,
Yeah,
that
avoidance
that
key.
that's yeah, that we can I mean, we, like I said, we already have a whole list of, we can share with you all the things that we're avoiding right now.
well, I mean,
We
yeah,
haven't made that list, but yeah, it's a technique we're using, and I
good.
think we just haven't thought of it with him jumping up in our laps because he hasn't done it for so many months,
Fair.
that
Yeah.
it's more been like a surprise, and we were like, oh, is this a good sign? But then when he is in our lap, we both get stiff and nervous and
Yeah.
don't know what to do.
And we're immediately calling the other person.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
Come
Tara.
get him, because I don't know what, if this is good or bad. But I would say, like, just in the last 3 or 4 days, he's
Yeah.
started to do that again. So on
Okay.
one hand, we're happy because it seems like maybe that cuddly dog is trying to come out, but on the other hand, we're a little freaked out by it.
Sure. Sure. I mean, I wonder part of it too is if you had been doing so much avoidance, if he's feeling more comfortable jumping up and being next to you because now he knows I don't necessarily have to be touched to be on mom and dad's lap. Because
Right.
some dogs that have, for whatever the reasons are, issues with being handled, there's like the concept of agency. Like we as humans, we probably don't hug everybody that we meet, right? We tend to ask like, are you a hugger for people we don't know really well? Because some people hate it. My sister hates hugs, right? So I would not hug her very often. So, but it's like a mutual thing that we both have to want. And it's kind of the same with petting, which brings me back to the body language. So, if for whatever reason, Loki's had some experience where he's like, I was not given agency. Someone was handling me either when or how I didn't want. right? Either one of the two. And so if enough time has gone by where no one is handling him, it's possible that he could be like, okay, now I trust that no one is going to handle me when I don't want to be handled. So I'm going to start jumping up on mom and dad's lap to see if that continues to be the case. So I don't know that. I'm just wondering because you've been doing so much wonderful avoidance. It's a good thing, by the way. It's a little heartbreaking, but it's a good thing for safety if that's part of it. What happens when the other person isn't home and it's just one of you on the couch and he jumps up? What do you do then?
Well, it's only Larry was traveling this week, but it only happened once with me, and luckily I had enough room, and it was just about walk time that I just said the W word, and his ears perked up, and then he wasn't as interested to stay on my lap, so we
Okay.
went and took a walk, and then since then Larry's been back home, and we've called each other to get the treats out or do a walk, or walking seems to be
Yeah, especially with the
yeah,
weather,
gets
he likes to go outside and sniff.
Okay.
yeah.
Good. We can
And
use this.
I mean right now we just got snow, but the last couple weeks have been quite nice, and he's
Right.
been able to get out.
Good. Okay. We can use that in our strategy then for the um, no one else is home times. We can
Mhm.
use something like that, like a word that we'll say that he'll be like, oh my God, that sounds more exciting. Let me get myself off the couch.
Yep.
For
Right.
now, if you guys tell me what you think of that plan of if you're doing so much avoidance, we can either be like, Loki's not allowed up here with us. That can be one approach for now. For now.
Mhm.
The other
Right.
approach could be he can come up with us, but we're not going to pet him. He's just going to exist either right next to me or in my lap. And if I need to move or get up, then we will create a word or strategy where we can distract him to get himself off the couch. That way you don't have to rely on another person coming to the rescue. What do you folks
Yep.
think?
That makes sense. The latter.
Well,
Yep.
no, I think the former. I
Not put him up.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Ready.
ready.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, we're just learning. I think I feel it's a step too far at the moment. Like, we can touch him if he's sitting at our feet, comes over, but I just think letting him up on our laps is, we're not there.
I'm good with that.
Okay. I like that. Normally,
Yeah.
I'll say we'll move at the speed of the least comfortable person or animal. So that works beautifully, right? So, okay. We'll keep that in mind as we talk about strategies and other things that we'll add to this plan. I think that's a great place to start because it keeps everybody safe. And that's going to allow us to build up some skills in the meantime. And eventually we'll see if we can ease back on a lot of the avoidance that you're doing. You mentioned that you have gotten really good at knowing what his triggers are. I know you don't have like a list or anything, but just off the top of your head, what are some of those other triggers that you know of?
Well, we know people in black clothes scare him. Coming up behind him, or reaching at him from behind is very scary. Um, like a noise that he's not expecting. Um, the sounds of the dishwasher, for example, because they're not repetitive.
Sure.
Um, he's
And like, putting plates together. I mean, if we're having dinner and someone goes to pick up the plates and you kind of just clank the
Ah,
plates together, and
sure.
you can see that it bugs them.
Okay.
So
yeah, he like jumps
yeah.
Okay.
every time. Um, I was
The
gonna say
outside triggers are
dogs walking by the house.
animals,
We have a lot of
squirrels,
animals
rabbits,
in our yard.
Saw
woodchucks.
that.
And
Yeah. All the little critters, the little prey animals. Okay.
yeah,
And he's a terrier, rat terrier, so that's his breed. He
Yeah.
wants to go after them.
That's his
And
job.
but also dogs and deer, and it doesn't really matter how big the critter is.
There could
He
be a
will
moose going by.
he will chase deer, and they are regularly around. So
there's some dogs he's totally okay around, but there's other ones that you won't even, neither one has barked at each other yet, but you can just tell because his hair on his back of his head just it goes from his head all the way down to his tail. And
Yeah,
that's when it's really bad. It's there's just certain dogs that, with the alpha syndrome that
but even like if we're on a walk, sometimes there'll be people with dogs, and he'll very calmly walk to him, by him. I don't know that he very many times goes completely by without something happen, but there are other times that he can see a dog from a block away, and he's yanking up the chain and got his hackles up, and we don't understand the difference,
yeah,
what's special about the one that's a block away versus the one that you're walking right near. But that's one. The garbage trucks, any of that beeping,
sure.
like the up beeping,
Right.
um, and that was one of the things from the last year, is that they did a huge amount of construction directly in front of our house for almost 2 months, and
Oh,
it it made all, like, I don't know that he even tracked the beeping before all that, but since that construction, he's upset about any of the beeping, and the garbage truck or whatever, the snowplow, or whatever goes by.
sure. Yeah. Oof.
um what other things? The dishwasher, the laundry, the vacuum, basically any appliance uh, is an
yeah,
issue.
we're doing some
Um,
construction in our house. So like, a drill or a saw, we
Okay.
try to do it all outside now so that it doesn't bother them.
Okay. All of this is super helpful. It's very good to know. It's lots of things. Poor guy. I feel like his for you guys for is avoiding as many things as you are, there's some things that are just out of your control, right? Like you can't
yeah,
control other people or other animals, and we have to live life and we use things around the house, and it's just got to be so hard walking on eggshells a little bit to be like, is he around and are we disturbing? So
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
like
lot.
Larry will take him for a walk, and I'll grab the vacuum and vacuum up as fast as I can for
I've
how
been
long it
there.
takes him to get around the block. And then whatever doesn't get done, it just doesn't get done till the next time I have the opportunity.
I love that though. I love that approach. We'll take it
But
where you can get it, right?
right.
Terrell will take them to the dog park and I hurry up and do the laundry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you've
It's
got strategies.
Yep.
right, right.
Good. Well, Larry, you mentioned one of the key things that is really helpful in understanding what Loki might be feeling at any given time with his body language, with the hair being back on his
Mhm.
neck. He said it's like the whole thing. That's exactly what we should be looking for, those physical signs. I'm going to bring up a chart and I'm going to share my screen briefly here
And
so we can
the other
talk
one
about
too
this.
is his ears. He
Yeah.
could really
Expressive
tell
ears.
if he's nervous about something. At times he'll just start shaking, but if his ears are back, we know there's a problem.
Yes, that's another good one. Those are all beautiful examples of body language instead of labels like scared or nervous or reactive, because that can mean a lot of different things. When we talk about body language, and this is helpful in understanding if he wants to be pet or if, like any of the other things, what he might be going through. This chart, which I can send you a copy of as well, I actually have it posted on my fridge because I like to remind myself of this with my own dogs. Down in this section, well, let me back up. This whole chart is just the spectrum of fear, anxiety, and stress in dogs. And it's just meant to give us an idea of some of the body language signals we might see in dogs that are in relaxing mode, dogs that are starting to escalate moderately, and then dogs that are really over their threshold. This is where we're overflowing in the bucket and some of the things that we might see. So you mentioned, let's see if we can find it on here, that their hackles were up. Like we can see it a little bit if I don't know if you can see in the little photo here, but some of these are the over
Put
threshold.
a shorter tail, and that would be Loki.
Yeah, yeah,
Dark nose, dark ears, and
yeah.
big body.
Exactly. And if we go back down the spectrum, these are relaxed or just, I'm just awake, but just checking stuff out. How often do you see Loki doing any of the body signals that are in this section? Does he look relaxed when he's around the house, just whatever, or is he just kind of a little bit concerned, more like in this yellow section?
In the house, I'd say middle section.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, I spend a lot of the day with him, so he does get into some of the green sometimes, certainly. And I'm always very excited when he'll sleep like relaxed instead of curled into a ball.
Yeah,
So I see it sometimes, but I'd say the position of the ears and the tail in those yellow ones is still kind of his default position.
Yeah,
yeah,
And
I'd
that
agree.
third one down from the top where he's kind of slinking and all hunched,
yeah,
like that was the position he was in when the
It was
medicine was making him crazy.
yeah.
Like he was just, it was so bad.
Yeah, that's not good. And I'm glad
Right.
that you mentioned something to your vet and that they reduce the dose because that's not the goal with medical therapy at all. It's not to make him a zombie. The goal is to have him be calm in this green section. So that's not what you were saying. So that means that either that medication is not the right fit for Loki or the dose is not the right fit for Loki. It sounds like you folks have already reduced the dose, so that's good. And some of the horrible lethargic behaviors went away, which is good. Um, I think based on your description then of how often he's in that yellow section just existing, I
Mhm.
can see why your vet prescribed him a behavior medication to start with. Because
Mhm.
there are lots of things based on what you said all of his triggers are that you can't control. And he's just an overall sounds like an anxious dog. The other the other question that I had is, and you mentioned this, Tara, that you don't have an idea yet from your vet what happens next. So that's what
Mhm.
I wanted to come back to, and we can circle back with right now. And I mentioned this too because I'm also a veterinary technician, along with being a behavior consultant. And while I'm not going to give you necessarily advice on Loki's medications, I can speak to how they work in general and
Okay.
see if that provides a little bit more insight until you're able to talk to your vet to get more information from them. So that 6 month kind of time frame that they gave
Mhm.
sounds about right, given
Mhm.
how long it takes medications to work. So when we first start a medication, like an antidepressant like the one that he's on, it takes
Mhm.
like 4 to 6 weeks for the body to acclimate to it. And once the body acclimates to it, we still need to establish the therapeutic dose because most vets are going to start on a very low dose to minimize side effects and just let that kick in the system for like 6 weeks. And then we're going to be like, okay, now it's in the system. Let's start slowly bumping up the dose over time until we reach a safe therapeutic dose, meaning we are seeing calm behaviors. We are seeing a reduction in intensity to those triggers. He's able to recover faster. He's more calm. He's sleeping more, all the good things that the medication's supposed to help with.
Okay.
And every time we make those adjustments, those take a few weeks at a time to do
Mhm.
those, to see how each one of them does. So that's, I think, why they gave you that timeline of 6 months, because it's not fast. It's not a fast process. And yes, if we ultimately decide that this medication is not the right fit, we'll need to come down off the medication. So that's a high level overview of it. Just based on the the weight that you provided and the dose that you've shared, the half tablet that he's on, it
Mhm.
sounds like that it sounds like the reconcile is maybe not the best fit for Loki based on what you're describing, because
Mhm.
you can't go up higher in the dose, right? You
Right.
tried to, he turned into like zombie lethargic dog. So we had to go back down to the starting dose. If we don't have anywhere to go from there, that probably means this is not the right drug for him, is what that might mean. And that's okay. That happens. It happens a lot, actually,
What
because
are the side effects? Because that we didn't know if the initial dose was so high that his side effect was the lethargic. But what
yeah.
are the side effects of reconcile?
So there's a couple different ways to look at this. There are side effects to being on the medication, and there are side effects of the dose being too high. And they're a little bit different from each other, right? So when you first start the medication, or if we adjust the dose, I kind of expect to see some side effects most of the time. Usually they're mild, usually there's lethargy, there could
Mhm.
be some GI upset, and there could be every once in a while increased agitation or an increase in the anxiety. If they are true side effects, they're usually mild and they tend to go away after about a week or two without us doing anything. They just go away on their own. If they don't go away on their own, or if they're really severe and profound, that means this is not the right drug for this patient, because that should not be the case. And that's where
Hmm.
it sounds like where Loki is. And again, that's okay. Reconcile is a really common drug, and we use it in a lot of dogs, and it works really nicely. But every dog is a unique individual. And so if that doesn't work for Loki, okay, now we know. What else can we try? Would be my question for you, Tara, to take to the vet, or Larry, for you both to take to your vet to be like, okay, what else do we do now? Because we can't increase the dose that he's on. The dose that he's on is a pretty low dose, the half tablet. So
Mhm.
I don't long term expect a lot of behavioral improvement from that dose without lots and lots of work. And I want the medication to work harder than you guys are having to right now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, I would ask your vet if they haven't followed up with you about what other options there are for you to try. And then they're probably going to have to be like, okay, this is how we mitigate a switch from the reconcile to the new medication, because that has to be handled in a certain way. But then the clock starts over with that new medication, right? It's going
Mhm.
to take 4 to 6 weeks to see the initial side effects, and then going up from there, seeing where the therapeutic dose is. Does it agree with his body? Who knows? A lot of it, I don't want to say it's a shot in the dark. They're medications that work in very specific ways, and I'm sure they had a reason why they started with Reconcile. But sometimes, despite our best intentions, dogs will
Mhm.
just say, nope, not for me. No, thank you. And again,
Right.
we just move on. What questions do you have about that?
Well, I just one you describing the side effects kind of made a light bulb go off because he's stopped eating and would refuse to eat uh, dry dog food or like a milk bone type treat. And I've been very concerned about, well, gosh, did something happen when with that grooming experience and he got hit in the head? And, does he have a broken tooth and nobody's noticed it or something like that? So I've been concentrating on his mouth and his eating and watching that. But just recently, he's started eating his.
Oh, I think we're frozen. If you can still hear me, I'm frozen on my end.
Eaten way too many of those. Uh, just we'll have to think of something else to do because I'm not going to give you another one of those hard treats. But I've been excited to see, and I think that was either this morning or
It
yesterday
was
evening. I was like,
yesterday,
what
last
do you
night.
think changed that he's eaten a milk
'Cause I gave
bone
him
now?
3 of them. I
Yeah,
got
and
a
I'm like, don't
couple
do
of
that again. Like, he can't have that many of those. But he would have, like, had we given them to him, he would have
Yeah,
been all over it.
good.
Where for quite a while now, he wouldn't go near them. They'd lay on a couch or the floor or whatever for weeks before he'd even consider eating them. To the extent too that his dry dog food, I've had to be like soaking it and getting it soft because he just won't eat hard things. So now I'm questioning if maybe that is part of the drug and he's kind of getting used to things since he's back to wanting to eat a milk bone. I'm going to try to provide him some hard food and see if he wants to also eat hard food again or
Is he doing anything else that is making us think that there could be something going on in his mouth? Like, does he ever paw at his mouth or rub his face on carpet or on anything?
and well, in the morning when he gets up, he rubs his face on the couch cover every morning, goes back and forth. But I've always thought that was like to get the little goobers out of his eyes
Sure. Yeah.
versus,
yeah,
but
because he only does it in the morning.
yeah, he only does it in the morning or like when he wakes up from a big nap, he might rub his head on your leg for a little bit.
Okay.
But he does not paw his mouth. And he loves having his ears and down. You can do all that, like scratch his ears and
Okay.
rub his
Good.
jaw, and he allows that and gets into it.
No,
So
no wincing or no
he
moving
doesn't
away
pull
from
away. If anything, he like leans into you yeah, that's the
Okay.
spot kind of thing.
Good.
But so I've thought of the mouth thing or tooth thing just because I have no reason to figure. I have no.
you. You noticed for a while that he was only chewing on the left side of his mouth, but
Well, he does do that. Like he favors chewing on the left side more than the right side.
Okay.
Um,
That's noteworthy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then because it was the right side that the blood vessels in his eye were busted and after that experience. So it's regardless of anything, it's something I want checked at his next visit,
Yeah.
just so we can rule it out. Is he quirky or is there something wrong?
Sure. Sure. How does
So
he do
that's on the table.
when he goes to the vet? How does that go? Like, is he super stressed or it goes
Oh,
okay?
it's very stressed. And
Okay.
it's just so when we first got him, he adored going to the vet. He thought the vet was the greatest because the vet was the one that kind of saved him and brought him back to health. And I'm sure when he was a puppy, they all loved on him a lot. And he just was the wiggliest, happiest thing going to the vet all the time. They could do anything to him, and he just loved every one of them. But then we had that same grooming experience. And from that moment on, because then I had to bring him to the vet to get his nails done. And it just, every time we went, it was like you said, that triggering thing. His
Yeah.
his vet bucket was way full and it just kept getting more full. So
to the point you had to drag him in.
no, he'd go in himself, but then he'd immediately turn around and want to leave. Like you couldn't get him to the waiting room. The only thing that helped, I think, when his dosage was off and he was feeling so bad was just that he was feeling so
I see.
terrible. It took and there was so much of that drug in his system. I think it took, although he was fighting it every moment being there, it kind of took the edge off. They were able to get a muzzle on him. They were able to, but he'd also lost almost a pound. He was totally dehydrated because he wouldn't drink. Like there were a lot of things going on. But when he was the last healthy trip to the vet, they couldn't even get close enough to touch him. Like
Okay.
the whole thing was aborted. That was when they gave us medicine.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing all of that. It's
Yeah.
really helpful because it sounds like since the grooming incident, and we've been doing lots of avoidance, the other reason we're doing the avoidance is sure because of the trigger stacking, the bucket analogy that I used. But the other part of it is every negative experience that he'll end up having just gets stored in the library, like in the bank here in his
Yeah.
head. And we want to try to minimize as many of the negative learning experiences as we can, because the more that we get in the library, the harder it is to change those into positive associations in the future. So there might be something going on in the mouth, given especially the chewing on the one side and the
Mm.
he wasn't always about the milk bones and now he is, and is there definitely worth exploring, right? Who knows? But I agree. I think it's definitely worth exploring. Usually, for a full examination of the mouth, for a quality examination of the mouth, it's usually done under sedation because
Right.
you got to get a good look and you don't want to get bit doing it, right? So consider you for Loki if this is something we want to have done. Do we
Mm.
need to have it done and do we need to have it done soon?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
it's nice to get
Well,
that box checked.
it'd be nice
We've
to get the
talked about
boxer.
that.
So before the end of the month, he needs to have Lyme's. No, not is it Lyme's or rabies or
The Lyme vaccine?
yeah. Well, I could read the. Do you is so in that pile right there, like behind that Capital One thing? There's the vet bill. So he needs his the Lyme vaccine and his lepto 4L4.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, those were due 2/4 and 2/3.
Okay.
So they said, given his circumstances, because that was right at the height of the worst of it, right there. And they did apologize because when they had him all muzzled up and he was in their care the day that he went because his dosage being too high, they're like, we didn't see that. We could have given him that vaccine right then and there, and we apologize for not seeing it, but we'd taken the muzzle off and we weren't going to put it back on for
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
But I have to get that done this month. So I guess my question to them was, well, I've got to bring him in. Um, I don't know how he's going to be, but he's on this drug, so he is a little calmer than at his very worst. And is it the time to kind of try sedating him, getting his nails done that haven't been done in quite a while because of the situation, having the tooth x-ray or the tooth exam or whatever they need to do, like get all that
Jaw
done
X-ray or
now. Does that seem logical given that I have to get him in for a shot anyway?
Yeah, I think it's logical to do everything at once.
Okay.
100%. Like if we're gonna sedate him, let's nails, like all the things. If he's due for blood work, let's collect a blood sample. Like let's do all of the testing because he's asleep. That would be
Right.
preferred. Do we need to do them all right now? I think is up for discussion because
Okay.
I don't want for this to be another negative learning experience for him. And while, yes, they do plan to sedate him for the procedure itself, if he's going in there and already like wanting to turn around, that to me is already the negative experience. So
Right.
in the history form, you mentioned that previously they had prescribed trazodone for him, and he did not do well with that, which is fine.
Right.
You also mentioned gabapentin, um,
Right.
to be used maybe with or without trazodone. Talk to me about those. Have those been used in combination? What was that like?
So the trazodone they gave me like after the second nail clip, just because he was so agitated at them doing that. So I put him on that and followed their instructions 2 hours before he was going to be there, give it to him with some food and water. And he would literally, like, as I could see the minute it kicked in, because he got stiff and he got wide eyed and he just sat and shook.
Poor guy. Okay.
And then I had to try to get the shaken dog into the car and get him to the vet. And then because he was at the vet, he's like, all this is bad now.
Right. Right.
I don't feel good. So then, but they got through it the first time. The second time, they had to put a muzzle on him, and it was a bigger ordeal because he knew then when I gave him the pill and he started to feel that he did the same thing.
Sure.
But now he's like, now I know I'm going to go to the vet and they're going to do horrible things to me.
Okay.
So he was amped up. And then the third time was the time that they couldn't get near him. So he was on, he was just upset from the moment. And I was scared to death he was going to bite me. And then we got in, and I'm like, and I think the same girl has worked on him all these times because he kind of calmed down at my feet. But when this tech came out from the back, he heard her voice. He didn't even see her. He heard her voice and he immediately was snarling and spitting. And so he knew who she was and didn't like it. To the extent that when he was on all the reconcile drug and went, there were two nice technician ladies that were feeding him cheese and talking to him smart and trying to figure out how we could, get a muzzle on so they could evaluate him. And the same technician came into the back hallway and kind of went, "Oh, hi, puppy," or whatever. And he reacted then. Like he just got totally stiff. And I'm like, and I didn't want to ruin what they were trying to do, but I wanted to say that lady needs to go
Yeah.
because he just hears her voice now and is upset. But so it was the time when they couldn't work on him that they then gave me gabapentin and explained the gabapentin you take the night before, as well as the trazodone and the gabapentin then again in the morning. And that we never got to try that or experience that.
Okay.
So that's still, I guess, an option. I don't know if gabapentin will take the edges off the trazodone. I think that's what they thought would happen. He just wouldn't feel as bad on it.
Right.
But I mean, to get him to the vet, I kind of feel like I need to try that whole cocktail of drugs, but I'm also leery as to how he's going to feel. And like you said, just making that experience worse, like
Right.
throw another drug on top of it.
Right. So that's unfortunate, and it does happen a lot with dogs that are that fearful that they'll just start to associate a certain person or a certain place with like, nope, I know what's happening. And there are dogs that are sensitive enough to medications that they're like, I feel weird, and it's not helping. Like it's not a calming thing. It's I feel weird and I don't like this. And it sounds like that's trazodone for him.
Yeah.
Again, that's okay. Like, that's information. It doesn't sound like trazodone is a good fit for him, is what it sounds like. So I wouldn't recommend you trying it over and over again if this is the result that we're getting, especially the
Okay.
last time where they ended up having to muzzle and they couldn't get all of the things done. That's telling me this is probably not going to be the best fit for him and we should try something else for
Okay.
whatever. And this is another thing that you can bring up with your vet, in addition to, hey, what might be other things besides the reconcile? Also, the trazodone doesn't seem to be working well for what we need. What else is out there? Because there's lots of different short-acting medications in the universe, and
Okay.
there could be other things to try. with the short acting ones, I do usually recommend that before you try whatever new medication or new dose, I do recommend that you try it on a regular day at home before you try to do it for something stressful,
Okay.
because then you'll know. Then you'll know, like if he's having this horrible reaction, like if he's doing the shaking thing again, if he is too sedate, if he starts like having vomiting or whatever else. I would rather you find that out when he's just at home with nothing happening. And we're like,
Don't.
nope, that's not the right drug before we compound by just trying to take him and doing the whole experience at the vet anyway, because I think that's going to make it worse for him.
Okay.
So that's another consideration. Before we even like we'll circle back to that. Tell me how you feel about your relationship with your vet. Have you been going to your vet for a while? Do you like your vet?
We've only been going there with Loki. Um, I have a hard time answering that because I feel like almost every time I've gone there, I've gotten a different vet.
Oh, sure.
So I don't feel like I have a real relationship with anyone. It's like I have a relationship with the building. We go to
Sure.
this building and there's someone inside that helps Loki. Um, yeah, I certainly don't think they're incompetent. I just don't feel like I have any relation and any consistency. Like
Sure.
they come in and
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh, well, you were here last for, you know, whatever." But there's no consistency to the person that prescribed the drug to Loki, the reconcile, was not there or available when he came in with all the problems.
got it.
So a different vet saw him who quite frankly, I think was more like a horse cow vet guy that they threw at this emergency than a dog vet guy.
Sure.
He seemed a little out of his league with the whole deal. The technicians did a better job at giving me information and kind of relaying everything that was going on than the vet did.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Yeah, that can be challenging, especially when you go in with the emergency and it's not the same person, the continuity of care. My big
right.
concern is, yeah, like mind you, sure, there's not necessarily a relationship with the vet, but that you, when you go, you feel supported, that they're listening to your needs and Loki's needs, and that you don't feel like you're being dismissed in any way, that sort of stuff.
No, I don't feel dismissed in any way.
Great,
I just don't
good.
feel like like I said, like I have a relationship with a vet.
Okay,
Um, it's just this they are all very helpful people, certainly. And every vet that I have talked with is always no one's ever rushed me or when
good.
I've asked additional questions, there's never been any of that. They've answered them and given advice on because I was a new puppy mom and given advice on just how to take care of a dog and what to do. So they've
Good.
always been helpful people, but now that we're kind of in a stressful circumstance, I am a disappointed, but I don't know what we can do about it either. We live in a town of, you know, 3,000 people. So this is our vet.
Sure, sure. I've been to, and you're in Galena, right?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
went to Galena a couple years ago. The
Fabulous.
weekend, yeah. So I'm over by the lake, but almost more by the Wisconsin border. So I'm like
Oh,
maybe
gotcha.
3 hours from you, probably ish.
Yep.
But Galena is like almost in Iowa, basically.
It's very
Pretty close.
close.
You can just jump and you'll be there. That's kind of me to Wisconsin. Like if I just jump, I would be in Wisconsin. Um,
I used
yeah,
to go to Kenosha all the time, so I
yeah, that's like 10
it's just
minutes from
north of
me.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you live in a beautiful area then as
Yeah,
well.
it's lovely here. It didn't snow, but it's gloomy and just
Oh,
dreary today. I'm bummed to hear it snowed by you. I thought we were kind of done with the snow, but here we
well,
are.
it's melting fast. That's the good thing.
Yes, good. Well, I think that I like that you have at least good support when you are interacting with the staff at the current vet. I think that's a good start. The reason I'm asking is, again, because I want to make sure that you have that, but I also think that Loki is a complicated guy that is probably going to need someone that you can go to consistently for support with his behavior medications and that therapy. So if you know you have the opportunity to like go back to that same vet that prescribed it to be like, can we see this through and rechecking with that vet? I think that would help. Another option, and I wanted to see what you folks thought about this, is working with a specialist that is more has more expertise in working with dogs like Loki. Because the closest one to you is not super close, honestly. It's probably couple hours drive away, but it could be an option to establish care with a specialist that you could see in person once a year and in the interim see over telemedicine. There's a veterinary behaviorist in Hinsdale. They work out of Hinsdale. They also work in Chicago, but I think Hinsdale, Illinois is probably closer to you. So I was going to bring up that as an option just to see what you thought. But if even that sounds like a stretch, that same facility also has an option where that specialist can get on the phone with Loki's vet in Galena. They can talk about Loki's issues and his challenges and his medications and get together a plan. And then your vet takes that plan back to you and they kind of see it through. Any thoughts about either of those?
Larry's Googling Hinsdale.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
It's kind of near Naperville.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
kind of your neighborhood.
Gotcha.
Oops.
Like I said,
Um,
it's not close, but it's probably the closest one to you.
right.
Is there any in Madison, do you know, or
There, let's look. Let's look. I believe that there is. Let's see where this one is. How far is Madison from you folks?
It's also
it's
2 hours.
yeah, right
Just
around
in a
2
different
hours.
direction. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like there is a behaviorist in Madison, Lakeview Veterinary Clinic. Let's see if I can find who this is. Unless, oh no, I'm sorry. They focus a lot on behavior, but that's not a board certified specialist, which is what I was looking for.
It's 2 hours, or it's almost 3 hours to Hinsdale, 2 hours to Madison.
This one. Animal Behavior Clinic in, this is in Madison? No, this is in Oregon. Why are you giving me this information? Madison.
That's a couple hours away.
Yeah, we'll just start the trek now and we'll be there in 6 months. Let's try this one. I will look into that because I'm not finding one now.
Yeah, Madison, Quad Cities is 2 hours
Okay.
away.
Okay. Well,
The Hinsdale was 3 hours. So
okay.
the idea I think is worthwhile. That way it's someone dedicated and somebody that's more knowledgeable of behavior type stuff.
Medications.
Yeah.
I
Which
think that would be really helpful. And in the interim, if you think that your vet would be up for one of those discussions with the specialist out of Hinsdale, that's something that you can still utilize because that doesn't involve you driving anywhere. And then if you eventually establish care with a different behaviorist at another practice that you actually drive to, that's fine. They can pick up wherever that has left off.
Mhm.
I just want to I wanted to see what you feel about that. And if you feel like that is appropriate, then great. I can send you more information on the getting your vet together with that vet specialist. It's called a vet to vet, huh? Because
Mhm.
it's vet to vet. And I can look at Wisconsin and Madison, Quad Cities area to see if there are any other behaviors that you in the future might want to drive to establish care. With any veterinary behaviors that you go to, like you're going to establish care with them, I'm going to imagine it's going to be a ways out before it happens anyway. Like there's
Mhm.
usually a wait before you can
Wait,
get in with
waiting
them
list.
Okay.
because there's not enough of them to go around and there's more pets with issues than there are specialists to treat them. So that's why I like the idea of the vet to vet for folks in the meantime to at least get them that kind of information, even if they're not directly working with that behaviorist. I'm mentioning this because those specialists, I think, can also help in getting medications fine-tuned for the purposes of taking Loki to the vet. So can we
Mhm.
find the right cocktail of medications so he's not as stressed going to the vet, and so it can be easier for the vet staff to give him sedation to undergo the oral exam or x-rays or vaccines or whatever else is needed. I'm hesitant to say, sure, let's go ahead and take him this month to get all of this stuff done if we don't have a plan in place that we know is going to reduce his stress. I don't
Okay.
think the trazodone
Mhm.
And
sounds like a
from
thing.
your expertise, that Lyme vaccine, if that's a little late, is that okay?
No. My dogs
Okay.
have been late on their lepto vaccines every year for the past probably 3 years, just because it's hard for me as a human sometimes to remember. So, is it
Okay. I just
ideal? No, but is it the end of the world also? No. So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Then I'm gonna worry less about it. I was, again, new dog mom. I'm like, oh, there's a date and we have to hit the date,
Yeah,
and
I love that. No, I love that. I love that you're trying to stay on top of the things because they are important. But for Loki's case, I don't think it's important enough to put him through another negative, possibly traumatic experience just for the sake of checking it off the box. Let's just let that hang out there, and we will deal with that in a few months when we are more prepared to do that. How does that sound?
He's had his blood draws where they say he doesn't have Lyme's, but just like humans, it's not 100% what's the word?
correct.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's what
But
vaccines are for.
could triggers, could he have Lyme's disease that triggered all this, or have you heard of that?
Um, whether, I mean,
Because we do take them out in the woods in the field, and we're constantly taking ticks off of them.
is he
And
on
he's
tick
had some that
prevention?
have been embedded. So
Yeah, it takes some Paraca or some
Oh,
Partico.
Simparica Trio? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, part of having a dog, I think, is inherently understanding what the risks are with whatever we're doing. And I do this every year with my dogs because they both hate going to the vets and they both hate getting their vaccines. So
Mhm.
that's partly why I drag my feet about it because I know it's just, I have to prepare in advance. We have to have those drugs for going to the vet and then for the poke and for all of the things. So I do my own risk assessment to say, I am okay with, sure, could they technically contract leptospirosis because they're late on their yearly vaccine? Sure. I'm willing to take that risk to not put them through this experience. So the same thing with the Lyme
So
disease and tick.
everybody's ready.
Yeah, everybody is got their own risk assessment to make. And my dogs are also on tick prevention too. And I'll just do testing. We do blood work every year just to make sure everything is good. And in the meantime, we do flea and tick prevention and heartworm prevention every single month. And
mhm.
I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, that that's what it
Right.
is. Um, and this is more than I think we have time to get into now, but to answer that question a little bit more broadly, a lot of those physical components can definitely exacerbate behavior. So all of the concerns that we have about what may or may not be going on in Loki's mouth, all valid. Because if there's something going on in there, yeah, I wouldn't want anybody touching me in any part of my body because I don't know if you're going to go for my mouth, right? And that's wonderful that you guys are keeping up with his annual blood work, physical exams, all of those things, because those are the times to catch those, to catch early warning signs of something going on in the body before he's showing any outward physical signs. So I think you guys are totally on top of that. That I'm not worried about at all. I don't know though, again, for at least for these next few vaccines, if we need to push it given
Right.
his previous experience so far.
Okay. Okay. They they've requested, rightly so, I think, that he comes in with a muzzle on.
Sure.
But his I tried to train him into a muzzle when he was a puppy because he would eat everything he came in contact with. So I tried to do that, and I think this is where I wrote, like, I could get his nose in it. I could even get it around his head, and he was really comfortable. But he is also very triggered by the noise of the clip
Ah, the
going,
clip.
clipping,
Yeah.
as well as Velcro. He's
Okay.
terrified of the sound of Velcro.
Okay.
So I've tried multiple times to, like, will you grab him? Uh, he's barking. We haven't paid attention to him in an
Uh,
hour.
he's like, hello, you're talking about me, but you're not doing anything
Exactly.
to me.
You could tell. Exactly. Uh, um, Hi, puppy. Yes. Hi, puppy. So it, the muzzle with the clip, and the Velcro, I've trained him where I can clip in front of his face, and he understands, and he doesn't jerk at that noise. And I've been able to, same with Velcro. See, this is the Velcro sound. Get him totally good when it's in front of him. But then if I put on the jacket and the Velcro's under his belly, then, or behind his back, then that noise that's coming from not right in front of his face, or, even when I've tried to do it behind him to train, it just, like, we had a very awful time when I got him into a jacket, and then he decided he didn't like the Velcro anymore, but then I couldn't get it off.
Right.
And
Yeah.
this was when he was biting. So I was afraid he was going to bite me trying to get the Velcro off. And he was like tortured by this jacket for like a day because I couldn't, I he wasn't acclimated at all, really. Like,
Yeah.
he was acclimated if it was in front of his face. So I don't know what to do about the request with the muzzle. I would love to have a muzzle that I could put on him and take him to the vet, and he was calm in it, and they would be calm seeing him, and we'd all have that one, biting checked off the list. Like, it wouldn't happen because the muzzle was on. But I don't know what steps to take to make that happen.
Sure. That's something we can work on. 100%.
Great,
Yes.
great.
And that's a common thing with dogs is once you get to the clips, all falls apart. All of a sudden,
Okay.
like it all falls apart. So yes, that is definitely something that we can work on. What kind of muzzle do you have? Is it a fabric muzzle, a basket muzzle?
It's a basket muzzle. I want. It's like the name of it's like Hounds of the Baskerville or something is what it reminds me of. I can
Yeah.
grab it real quick and show you.
Baskerville is a common name, so if that's the one, then I'm betting I know which one it is. Oh, hello. Hi, Loki.
You
Oh,
see it?
handsome. Look at those ears. I see what you mean about the ears.
Yep. They just
Hi,
gave him some
sir.
treats. Can you
What
say
does he
hi?
have down there?
It's a it's a little toy that we can hide his treats in. Catch.
Great. Oh, look at him go. Yeah, get it. Get it. Does he like to interact with puzzles and toys
Oh,
like
yes. Yes.
Great. Great. Continue doing that. I would give him those kinds of puzzles like at least once a day, if not more. That's really great mental stimulation, and he gets to use his nose, so it's good sensory stimulation. That's
That
so
was a good
cute.
idea, sweetie. Putting that right on the floor.
That's also a great
So
idea because
this is the
beautiful. Yeah.
one we have, but it clips behind his head.
Yeah.
Ow, my
Oops, sorry,
foot.
that was your foot.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways that we can go about it, but yes, that's one of the things that we can definitely work on and get him to, like you said, the point where he likes having the muzzle on, he doesn't mind having the muzzle on. And I agree, if you folks can get that on him before you even get in the car and go to the vet, that would be ideal. So yes,
Right.
definitely on the list of things that we can focus on.
Okay.
Perfect. So we're getting close to time. This 90 minutes has flown by. I did want to mention a couple of somewhat easy things that you can start to implement to start to maybe reduce some of the overflow in his bucket, unless there's anything else that you folks are like, I really want some information on this. Like, this is what I want, and this is what I'm looking for right now because this is a big stressor for me. Do you guys have any big thoughts about it?
No, I think you've addressed kind of the biting thing, and we have our avoidance plan. The muzzle was and the vet are big on the list just because they could provide us some
Extra
insight that we
guidance.
can check something off the list or that we know we have something we have to deal with. So those are were the biggies
Okay.
for me.
Okay. Well, in terms of helping with one of the strategies, which is not allowing him on the couch, right? We're going to prevent him from getting up there for now. Where do we want him to go instead? Or what do we
Now,
want him to do instead?
so he has a couch and a day bed. They're in two different parts of the house that we've kind of like made his for the winter because they are heated and our house is under construction, so the main floor is kind of chilly. So he's taken to those two places and they've kind of become his
Good.
because I've been bitten on on them, so I think he thinks they're his
I see.
and
Okay.
not someone else's.
Do
um,
you want them
He,
to be
he
his?
used he used to sleep in the kennel all the time.
Yeah.
you're jumping ahead,
Okay,
but
I'm sorry.
okay.
Does he
That-
still go into the kennel?
Not really.
No.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Is it
He's
still out and accessible?
It's still
Yes.
out and accessible, and on occasion I throw some treats in there just so that he gets a positive vibe from it. But he won't kennel up anymore. He won't uh, uh, go in there for to sleep.
Okay.
So he sleeps on the couch that's in the same room as the kennel. So he at least has that spot, that room as kind of his safe space at the moment.
And what is kind of nice seeing that is he does lay out flat. He most of the time he'll be sleeping in a ball, but when I get up in the morning, I'm usually the first one up in the morning, and I see him, he'll be laying out totally flat.
On his
And
bed?
that's
Well, on the
changed
couch.
on the couch.
Unfortunately, it's on the couch. I
Gotcha.
don't think you can do that in this kennel. It's the bigger one he might be able to, but he tends to be in a ball in the kennel.
Okay. If he is that room close to the couch, like if the couch is in the living room, I assume,
Yeah.
or the family room?
It's the sun porch. So right
Okay.
now he's on the sun porch because also the floor on the sun porch is heated.
Okay.
So it's the warmest room of the house during the
Okay.
winter. So, and it is for the first 2 years of his life, we with the construction on the house, we all basically lived on the sun porch.
I've been
so
there.
so he's very familiar with that room. It is the sun porch. It has sun, so he usually has a sunbeam to lay in on sunny days, and he's most relaxed in that room.
Great.
But then with the advent of more of the house being finished, the house got opened up to him, and he's not afraid of the rest of the house, but I do think it can be overwhelming to him,
Sure.
to have all these places he kind of has to keep an eye on. So that was some good advice from the folks who I had on the internet that I was dealing with about him not wanting to go in the kennel, but being out on the sun porch, is that it's all windows out there. And during the night, I felt like he was up all night, like looking for critters out the windows
Ah,
and being, kind of activated. And he'd bark if there were deer in the yard and that kind of thing. So, something that we don't want to keep forever, but at the moment, I have cardboard over half of all the windows, so he
gotcha.
can't see out anymore at all in
Okay.
that room.
He'd like to get on the couch and then look out the window, or he'd get up on our treadmills and look out the window, and we've
Okay.
blocked all that so he can't do it.
Good. That's a
Yeah,
perfect form of
Another trigger.
management.
Yep.
Yeah, of avoiding the trigger. And if
yeah,
you're fine with the cardboard, that's an easy solution. If you want more light, but still don't want him to be able to see as much, you can also try like the window cling, the window film that just goes on the window.
Mhm.
I have that on my windows for my dogs for the exact same reasons, but the light can still come through. They just can't see what's outside. So
Right.
that could be another option. But I love that he's got that space that's considered his safe space. The biggest thing for me with safe spaces is that they truly are that safe, meaning when Loki is in his safe space, nobody bothers him. That's his space. No one's trying
Mhm.
to pet him, reach over him. Like it's just him hanging out in his space. If we want to build more value for that space, because here's where I'm going with this, is if he's trying to jump on the couch to hang out with you guys, I want you to be able to redirect him somewhere else to spend time instead. And if that safe space is an option, then you can redirect him over there with something fun to do, like that puzzle that you just gave him with food. That would be fantastic. I'd move that to his safe space. If you feed him meals, wherever you feed him meals now, if you could start feeding them in his safe space, do all
oh,
of the fun things like
yeah,
that. Yeah, all of those things you can do in his safe space to build value for it. That way, he has somewhere else to go and something to do. In addition to like that puzzle that you gave him now, Larry, do you have other kinds of toys or puzzles for him
Yeah,
that
we have another one where it's like a, well, I'll just say it's round and it's got little uh, covered pie pieces, so
great.
that,
Okay.
and it's got a little lock on it. So he hasn't figured out how to unlock it,
Okay.
but if we put, there's always one open. If we put his treats in there, he noses around to find which one has the treat. So
Nice.
that's the other puzzle we have.
Nice. I'll send you some ideas on other kinds of puzzles or toys that you can try.
also have like we have like the topples
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
top.
that
Yep.
click together, and it's not a Kong, but it's a thing like a Kong where you stick some treats in. He has to bash it
Great.
around and have
Yep.
stuff
We've
come
got
out.
those. Yep.
And
Yeah. They've got some good options. Some of the things in the document I'll send you will also have some DIY options. So you don't have to go out and like buy new things. You can use stuff around the house. I have terriers as well, and my dogs like to destroy things like
Oh
shred.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
so I give
Oh yeah.
crumpled up newspaper with treats inside or crumpled up toilet paper tubes with like treats inside. So stuff like
Ditto.
that. Yeah, you can do all of that in his safe space as a way to build value for it. I think that's going to come in handy in the future. We can talk about things like how to relax and all sorts of stuff, but having a safe space is going to be one of those foundations. If you think he could use it, in addition to blocking the visuals, which I love that you've already done, you can also try sound masking, meaning let's play something that's going to be minimally annoying to anyone in the house, but also drowns out the stuff outside. You probably can't hear it, but I have a white noise machine playing in my background because my dogs, if they hear anything, are gonna go berserk about what's passing by the house. So I have
I
that on most of
did
the time.
try like on Amazon Music. There was like doggy classical music
Yeah,
station, and unfortunately, it was also at the beginning of the reconcile. So I can't really tell.
I think he's got to
I think he does too.
he's got to go out. Yeah, you can
go.
take care of
Yeah,
that. That's
he's,
fine.
you know,
We're wrapping up anyhow. Yeah, I can send you some more ideas on sound masking things to try.
Okay, and I I felt it worked for just so long, and then it was, well, is it the drugs that are,
Sure.
is it really the music that's helping him, or
Yeah.
is it that he's, stoned all day long?
I think
Um,
now's a good time to retry then, given that
yeah,
he's kind
you
of
think so?
not drugged like that anymore. So at least
Right.
you'll be able to tell if you retry different sources, do you see him getting calmer or do you see no difference at all?
Okay. But
Yeah,
you'd try it again, even though it seemed to be odd the first time.
I would try either that again or something else again. But I
Okay.
think if the first time he was on that higher dose, I don't know then, like you said, was it because of
Right.
the meds or was it the sound? So I think it doesn't hurt to try. If you don't notice it works, okay, that's information. Let's try something else instead. And you can just kind of keep, I call it not trial and error because it's
Mhm.
information. There are no errors. I call it trial and eval. So we're going to
Okay.
trial and evaluate. What do we see? And that's okay.
Okay. Great. I will try it again.
Okay. So we'll try those things. I think that's for now, we'll focus on those small things of getting him set up in his safe space. I'll send you some resources on how to kind of bolster that space for him. I'll send you information on window film if you're interested in sound masking that we just talked about, the
the
body
body
language.
language. Yeah, the
Yes,
body language.
exactly. The
Yeah.
body language things that we talked about. And with the body language resources, there's a lot of them in the document I'll send you. Take your time. I don't expect you to read absolutely everything. Just go to where you feel makes sense for you. Some are videos, some are handouts, like just whatever works for your brain.
Okay.
Everybody's different. And along with the body language, just start to observe Loki every day and seeing what, trying to practice that body language observation. Like, what do you see with his ears, his eyes, his tail? When he's escalating, what does that look like? When he's de-escalating, what does that look like? Thinking of that spectrum that I showed you. So when he's going up to red and when he's coming back down. That's a good way of learning, oh, this is what your body language looks like. And this is when you're in these zones. So lots of useful, I'm sure, information and data points that you'll get once you start having that lens on to see him in that way.
Okay. Sounds good.
Does all of that sound like overwhelming? And you're like, let's take a step back, or are you like, because you guys you're dealing with a lot right now anyway, or
Right.
so we can certainly take a step back and say, let's put a pin in this part, or we can just be like, yeah, let's go with this, and we'll pick up again next session on other items.
Um, I don't find it overwhelming, but I think that like that has our plate full. I don't
Okay.
know there's anything that I'd swap out
I'd agree. I'm
for
taking him out to the bathroom.
Okay,
So
thanks,
thank
Larry.
you.
Appreciate that.
uh yeah, I don't think there's, I'm reading what I've written on my notes, that I don't think there's anything I'd swap out these options for.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I think we've hit the big ones to then, like you said, try and evaluate and talk about what happens and try and evaluate, talk
Yes.
about what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Okay. I'll also send you information on the vet to vet. I'll try to look for another veterinary behaviorist option as well. If I come across those, I'll send that to you. This is a journey, right? And it's a marathon, not a sprint. I know we covered a lot today. Are you feeling more overwhelmed, less overwhelmed, same overwhelmed?
Well, honestly, I'm not. I'm maybe less overwhelmed just because it's not me and Larry just guessing at what we think is good for the dog. Like,
Huh.
we're very, very happy to have you on our team and on our side, Veronica. I can't tell you I'm gonna like cry, but
You can cry. Go for it. It's a cry-worthy moment because it's been so hard for you. I can tell it's been so hard.
yeah. And it's what I do like 100% of every day is try to figure them out. So having somebody on my team is very much appreciated.
It's always good to have an outside perspective, and I love how dedicated you are and how much you've tried to do
Well,
so
I,
far.
I love him dearly, but I can't forever spend every moment of every day on him. I mean,
No,
I'd love to, but we have to get back to where there's a balance that we are taking care of him in the right ways, but can also, lead our lives. And
right.
on
100%.
the next call, we'll bring my mom into it and our other house into it and ask you
Okay.
some stuff about that. But right now, we are here. We are avoiding we are avoiding the other house. We are avoiding that contact. We are avoiding those things.
Yeah,
But it's a person and a place that we can't avoid forever.
right.
So that will be coming up to talk to you about. But right now, I'm with you. Just you know, whatever we can do, and whatever suggestions you can make about the clip
Sure.
noise,
Yeah,
and and making
yeah,
him comfortable with that.
yeah. I'll
Uh,
mark that as one of the primary things to talk about next session. Yeah,
Very good.
definitely do that. When do you want to meet again? That was going to be my last question. Do you want to
Um,
meet in 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
what's your recommendation? I mean, I don't know that we have I, I mean, I don't think there is such a thing as having a timeline to get them to the next step. It's
Yeah,
how
a
we
lot
can
of it is dependent on how you folks are doing with the things that I'm going to share. Like, try this and try that. If you're
Mhm.
blowing through it and you're like, yeah, okay, things are moving along, then great. And if you need more time, you're like, actually, we need some troubleshooting help, then I can help you. I usually
Okay.
like to meet every 2 to 3 weeks just to keep forward momentum going, but we can always push it back or move the date. Like I have no problem with that at all based on how things are actually going with you guys at home.
Well, our 2 weeks is March 6th, then. I'm looking at my little.
Correct. March 6th. I also have, let's see. I have openings on the 5th on Thursday, Friday the 6th, also the following week on Thursday the 12th and Friday the 13th.
Um, I actually think Friday the 6th would probably be good.
Okay, let's see.
Um,
I have morning appointments. I don't have any afternoon appointments.
oh, I should have you look at your
If it's
schedule
If it's
too.
Friday, that's fine.
Is a morning okay?
Yeah. Well, what about you? You usually work Friday morning, unless
Um,
you figure out.
I do
Hi.
have Friday the 13th in the afternoon, and I have Thursday the 5th in the afternoon, if that helps. If afternoon is easier.
yeah, say the 5th isn't good. How about that we change it to the 13th then?
Okay. In the afternoon still?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Was 2 o'clock a
That
good
be
time? Should we just do
that's
2?
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
Where's your toy?
Beautiful. So I just got a schedule. You'll get an email confirmation with that. And again, If anything happens and we need to change that date, you should be able to just move that on your own. And if you have any issues, let me know. I can move it myself too. And
Okay.
I'll send you a training plan with lots of details and notes. If you have any questions between now and when we talk again, let me know. You can reach out
Okay. That's
via
what I was going to
email.
ask. Just
Yeah,
send you an
you can
email
just
and
send me an
yep.
email, or if you're stuck with something or you just want to send an update with anything, just let me know. I'm happy to hear all of the things.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
You're very
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
It was so lovely meeting both of you today. Thank
It
you
was
so much for your
wonderful meeting
time.
you,
So
Veronica.
happy to
Thank
be part of the team.
you. You are part of the team. I appreciate
Hey, have
that.
a wonderful weekend, folks.
You
Take
too.
care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.